And joining me now is Democratic Senator from Oregon, Jeff Merkley. Senator, thank you so much for joining us. You were one of just 3 Democrats to vote against the foreign aid supplemental because it funded offensive weapons for Israel. So the White House has halted a weapons shipment to Israel over concerns it would be used in Rafah. Do you view this as a shift in policy by the administration, and does it go far enough?
It is the first time such a hold has been placed on bombs. In this case, it's 2,000-pound bombs and 500-pound bombs, the very sorts of bombs that were used in Gaza in what the president has called an indiscriminate manner. And that manner of bombing has resulted in well over 30,000 deaths, some 24,000 women and children. So I do see this as a positive development for us to say it's not okay for U.S. weapons to be transferred to Israel and for Israel to use those in this sort of indiscriminate fashion with such an enormous toll.
But Senator, will this actually make much difference if Israel still wants to go into Rafah? Does the administration need to be doing more? And what should the president be doing at this point?
Well, one thing you should be doing is using the National Security Memorandum 20. The report was due today, but it's been delayed. And it is essentially a new NSM 20 that has been put in place in the last defense authorization. And basically, it gives the president leverage to say to Netanyahu government that, look, if you restrict aid to go into Gaza, and we know that there are now famine conditions in Gaza, as well as lack of medical care, water, power, communications, transportation, all the factors that provide a basic foundation for existence. He should use that leverage to say this is unacceptable. We have to get much more massive level of aid in, and he should use it as leverage to say that it's unacceptable for American weapons to be used in an indiscriminate manner with these enormous casualties.
And Senator, as you know, the State Department will miss its deadline for that report into whether Israel is violating international law. What are you hearing about what's behind the delay?
Well, what I'm hearing is that there's a big argument going on in the State Department. There are those who are saying we have to accurately report the facts and follow the law. And there are those who are saying there's political considerations here. And we do not want to basically do such a high integrity review of our ally.
Senator, you said, some people think politics might factor into this. What do you believe is the cause for the delay?
Well, I do think that this is being worked out as to whether the State Department is going to essentially say, hey, we will follow the process, even when it's an ally. And Senator, I hope that view wins out.
But do you believe politics is playing a role in this delay?
Well, I do think consideration of using this power, a country that we work very closely with, is a very significant step for the administration. They're wrestling with it, certainly probably wrestling with it more intensely in a campaign year, but also because we do have a close and productive relationship with Israel on many issues. And in this case, however, the way they conducted this campaign is out of sync with American values. And restricting aid and producing a famine is out of sync with American values. And so I do hope the president's team says we've got to follow the facts where they lead. And where they lead is we cannot provide aid to a country that is restricting aid and producing a famine.
Senator, your House Democratic colleague, Rashida Tlaib, went so far as to say that our country is actively participating in genocide. Do you agree with that?
It's not a phrasing that I would use. I would say because of our close relationship with Israel, that we are closely tied to the consequences in Gaza. I've worked on a lot of human rights issues when we're criticizing China and saying, look, this slavery with the Uyghurs is unacceptable. The treatment of Tibetan children taken away in boarding schools is unacceptable. The firebombing of 350 cities in Burma is unacceptable. In this case, we're in a situation where our close ally, our partner, is engaged in a strategy that is producing enormous carnage, and it's very tough, different situation. We're used to criticizing kind of our folks who are not our allies. And so I feel strongly that we have a greater responsibility to act here than any other humanitarian situation because of that close relationship.
And Senator, I want to play some of what your colleague Senator Sanders said about President Biden's handling of the war and the protests. Let's listen.
I am thinking back, and other people are making this reference, that this may be Biden's Vietnam. I worry very much that President Biden is putting himself in a position where he has alienated not just young people, but a lot of the Democratic base in terms of his views on Israel and this war.
Senator, the president has taken incoming from both sides on foreign policy. So do you think some of the decisions he's made are going to hurt his reelection bid?
Well, I have been holding town halls out in Oregon. I've held 16, and people can come and raise any topic they want. And the largest issue they're raising is they are uncomfortable. They are disquieted. They are stressed out by what is happening in Gaza. So I think when Bernie refers to the fact that especially young people are deeply affected and saying this is not okay, this is not in sync with our values, he's absolutely right.
But Senator, I want to push you a little bit on that, because the Biden campaign has been stressing that they're focused on other issues such as reproductive rights and the economy. They think that those issues will matter more to voters. But you're saying you're hearing a lot about the Israel-Hamas war. Do you think the Biden campaign is correct?
Well, I don't think that they are wrong. That reproductive rights are very important to younger Americans. That's certainly the case. So is the cost of college is very important. But this is important as well. So there are folks who are saying, yes, we know that Biden's in our camp on canceling college debt. We know he's there on reproductive rights, but they're still coming out and saying they are deeply disturbed that we are providing the bombs to Israel that Israel has used to basically flatten most of Gaza, producing enormous deaths of women and children.
And Senator, briefly, I want to switch to another topic. You have an amendment for the FAA reauthorization bill that would block the expansion of facial recognition technology at airports. Have you heard from Senator Schumer about where he stands on that amendment?
Well, there are concerns from many senators from their home state airports who want an expansion. Let's understand what my point here is. There has never been a single hearing in the Senate or House on establishing a nationwide system of facial recognition that we would have to go through in order to ride a plane. And where does this lead to? First, there's an opt-out now that you can use documents, but TSA is saying they want to get rid of that opt-out in the future. And then if you're going to provide this sort of facial recognition for security on planes, how about on trains? How about on buses? We have seen the power of facial recognition to be used by authoritarian governments to control their population. China has done so in a massive way with a million Uyghurs, using it to help control their activities. We've now seen China sell this software to 80 other countries to control dissidents. The point of saying let's do a pause in order to have a congressional examination of this very significant issue is core to the issues of privacy and freedom.
Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Gabe. Good to be with you.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.